Ask yourself this. If you had listed all of the topics that you've removed from the conversation, whether it be politics or friends or whatever it might be, or family, would you be able to build a longer list of those topics that still interest the both of you?
Whether you're married or in a relationship or just simply have a friend that you meet consistently for a meal, you never want to be that table where no conversation is taking place. You know, the silent, awkward table.
Should I try that now?
No.
No. You know, we hear over and over again that communication is the key to a happy marriage, and it is. But what happens when you're not quite sure what you have left to talk about, and there's silence, and you're just looking at each other?
You know, are there topics that you can't talk about due to strong differences of opinion?
Well, I saw the eyes.
Like politics or certain friends?
We're aligned on politics and friends. Okay.
Maybe some work projects that you don't want to bring up during mealtime. That would be me. Or even downsizing. We have a lot of clients that don't want to bring up downsizing.
So ask yourself this. If you had listed all of the topics that you've removed from the conversation, whether it be politics or friends or whatever it might be, or family, would you be able to build a longer list of those topics that still interest the both of you?
It's a great question.
It is.
And lucky for you, we've compiled a few thoughts of topics that should always be left on the table, in our opinion.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. The first topic you can talk about, which is an easy one, I think, is, what makes you happy? Kind of an open-ended question. And, I bet when you were early in your relationship, you probably talked a lot about this. But as time goes by, it's easy to forget to ask what truly makes you happy.
Yeah, and we actually just talked about this the other day. Things that make us happy together is, for instance, a day at the beach or going to the movies. We actually did go to the movies, and it was a bad experience. We went to the movies, but we love riding bikes together. We like to walk after dinner. Those are things that make us happy. So we try to
talk about them.
We try to talk about them. So here's a suggestion. Tonight at dinner, or at lunch, or the next time you're together, or having coffee tomorrow, take turns coming up with a list of some of the things that make you happy individually, or maybe happy as a couple. Take turns, no judgment, no, that's a bad idea. No, do this in a loving, kind, careful way, and make a list in your phone or somewhere so you don't have to go through the process again.
And I would even suggest to remember the things that made you happy in the beginning of your relationship. And they may not be the same things that you want to discuss today, but it's a fun time to reminisce. Also, it's important to note that this doesn't need to be the only thing that makes you happy in your relationship or in life. These can just be general things that make you happy.
So here's some other questions to think about when you're going through this exercise. What do you need from the other partner to be happy? Think about that. What are some things Jody could do for me to make me happy? That list is so long, I don't even have time to go through it today. It's taking up all the memory in my phone. And also, what do you need as a person in this phase of life to be fulfilled? We all got a lot of fulfillment during our career, but what is it now that you're going to need? Is it volunteering? What is it? And help the other person come up with some of these things.
Another topic to discuss is, and this kind of sounds a little hokey, but what are your life goals now and what are they moving forward? Is there a sight line for you to get from point A to point B? Because I think really talking to each other about your goals in life can give you significant insight into each other's desires, as well as the opportunity to support and build your partner up as they're achieving their goals.
Yeah, and I want to weigh in on this because...
It sounds too corporate?
No. Okay. No. Sure. No, but the thing is, I'm 65. I fully intend to live to 100. And let's say that I do. I've already lived 65 years, 2/3 of my life. There is an end in sight. So now is the time to really make some goals and activities for the next 15 years for us. We just talked about this the other day. At 80, I don't know if I'll be able to do some of the things we're doing now. Right. So it's really important that You put these in place now while you still are active and young and you feel great.
And really big life issues, right? Things that may evolve over time. But if you keep track of them in a document, I mean, we use Evernote, which is a great little app
We
that
do.
we use, and we share things that way in documents.
But you might be comfortable using Word.
Right.
So if you create a Word document, the key is that you both should have access to that document. So set up a Dropbox account, and you can share the Word document that way, so you guys can always go in and update when you think of something. And you can always look at it if you need some help coming up with an idea what to talk about.
Okay, so if number 2 was a little too corporate and structured for you, here's an interesting topic to talk about. Think to yourself, can you openly discuss views on current affairs? Realizing you may disagree, always respectfully and kind and with compassion, and always be honest. Is that something you can put on the table?
Yeah, I don't know, and it certainly can be interesting. We have a couple very good friends, and when it comes to politics, they're completely on the other spectrum.
Right.
So they don't talk about it, which is fine. But we love his opinion and his stories, and we love hers. But the two of us don't suggest at dinner that we talk about politics. We do it when we're alone with each of the person.
Right.
Because we want to hear their views, right? Because we want to learn.
Right, but let's be honest, current affairs aren't only politics.
No.
There's a lot of other things going on in the world. And my question would be, do you really know how your partner feels about issues that are current in the papers or current in your news cycle, wherever you get your news? Or even community events that are current. Do you know your partner, how your partner feels about
Right.
those things? It's kind of an interesting thing.
It is. And I think it is important to know. And this will take some bravery. And I also think some rules of engagement so that you don't end up really getting mad at each other. Another topic to talk about would really be, at this stage of life, discuss some of your fears, some of your anxieties, some of your thoughts, and some of your insecurities. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable with your vulnerability. That's really, really important. But if you can open up about these with your partner, it really does open up a new discussion, and you get to care for each other in a way that maybe you haven't before.
It's funny. Think about when you had kids and a career and circles of friends and general chaos. There was really no time to discuss things that made you anxious or fears or any of that kind of element because you were in it. You were in
Right.
the chaos.
Right.
So the question is, could it bring you closer to open these boxes a little bit and share them in a vulnerable way?
I will say when we get vulnerable with each other, it does open up a different sense of love and kindness for each other, wouldn't you say?
I would think so, yeah.
Really?
I'm not the vulnerable one.
Yeah,
You
I
are.
am. There's
Yeah.
nothing you
I have
ask
to
me a
work at
question,
it.
I'm going to answer.
I definitely have to work at it.
How about this? Sitting down, you're out to dinner, you're not sure what to talk about. Just start talking about some memories together. Just go down memory lane. Your first date, the first time you met each other, your first child, your first job. Just go through a playlist of things in your life or in your relationship that remind you why you fell in love in the first place.
It's funny. Even childhood memories can help add some richness to who you are all these years later. And if you didn't know your partner back then, these are all maybe new stories. This particular topic, I think, really allows you to get to know each other even more. Sharing the funny and the sad and the times that made you proud and maybe even some embarrassing moments really can add richness to your relationship.
You talked the other day when we were having coffee about your mom isn't here to bring your stories forward as a child.
My memory keeper.
Your memory keeper, and it's making me think we need to do a video on that. I think that would be a great way to come up with an exercise for all of us to come up with what is the memories that we have. How did we behave as a child? What was it like growing up? So that we can pass that on to our kids. But anyway, how about this one as a discussion? Family goals with specific timelines. You know what?
You're back to corporate goals again. I like it.
I am. What does your family look like today? We have 6 kids, and staying connected with them takes an awful lot of effort. One of the things that we do is we try to have an annual gathering. Last year we had 2.
We did.
Actually,
we were lucky.
Actually, we had Thanksgiving, we all got together, and then we had my 65th birthday, we all got together.
Yep.
That's so important to us.
They actually straddled 2 years.
But yes, right. But that takes work, doesn't it?
It does. It definitely takes work. It may seem like a strange topic, family goals. But honestly, if you don't focus on it, you may miss some impactful moments and some relationship fixes or enhancements that may be there to help you in this next chapter of your life.
All right. Here's something to talk about that's guaranteed to create some stress.
Oh, great.
But I really think, or we think, it's important to talk about, and that's your finances. You cannot go through this phase of life and just ignore it and keep one partner in the dark. You've got to really understand what your finances are. Money is one of the top 2 reasons that couples argue. And honestly, it shouldn't be like that. It's pretty straightforward. You have what you have and you spend what you spend.
You're right.
But you have to talk about it.
Yep. It is critical to talk about it. And it's even more critical not to lie about it.
What the hell does that mean?
I'm just saying.
Oh.
Sometimes it's best for this topic to have a spreadsheet or some numbers or some facts and figures.
You can't fudge the numbers either, I guess.
I guess you can't.
Yeah.
Markham.
What do you mean, Jody?
So it's good to go over. It's a tough topic to bring up, and it's important to be honest about it.
Right. We discuss our expenses weekly, not every day, but weekly. We see how we're doing, and our spending habits. Sometimes we have to dial it back because it just kind of gets out of control. Amazon is like our biggest not a problem, but it's so easy to click buy now. But if we need bigger discussions, we always have our financial planner with us to have those chats, and you need to do that.
The final topic we suggest to talk about is really intimacy and love. Aw. This is the other reasons that couples argue a lot is intimacy. Talking about intimacy can make a person feel vulnerable, and perhaps depending on your past or your history or the way you've been brought up, you might find this topic a little inappropriate, but your partner may not.
Yeah, and the one person you need to be able to talk to about this is your partner. I mean, that's the person you want to be intimate with. We're talking about sex?
We're talking about intimacy.
Intimacy, not sex. This is a broad topic for sure, but understanding each other's expectations, your desires, and your fantasies are really important. There's this great book that we recommend all the time called The 5 Love Languages, and we'll put the link below. But it really is an amazing way to start to reignite your love for each other because you learn what the other partner's language really is all about.
We find ourselves at times out to dinner and not in deep conversations. Our conversations could be about kids and vacations and grandchildren and certainly the business, brainstorming an idea.
Yeah, we do that. We like to do that. When we find ourselves at a quiet moment at dinner, we bring up one of these go-to topics. You don't want to allow long periods of no communication take place. You just really don't. Unless you need that, and it's on purpose. But we hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it with your friends, and also please subscribe by clicking the subscribe button.
And finally, join our free Facebook community. The link is in the notes below.
Thanks for listening, and we look forward to being with you again.